Hello and welcome. You know, the holidays, they're painted as this magical time of year. Families gathered around a roaring fire, carols playing softly, everyone's merry and bright. But let's be honest, for many of us, the reality can look a little different. The holidays can bring up a lot of emotions. It's a time when families come together, often after months apart. But it can also bring its own set of challenges. Old tensions can resurface, and expectations can clash. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be a recipe for disaster. We're here to give you practical advice on navigating family dynamics during the holidays. Real tools and strategies to help you savor the season. So if you're ready for a joyful, peaceful holiday season, grab your favorite mug and let's dive in. Let's be real, the holidays can put a strain on anyone's wallet. The pressure to find the perfect gifts, to create elaborate meals, to travel long distances, it all adds up. And when you're already feeling the pinch, that financial stress can really cast a shadow over the season. It's important to remember, you are not alone in feeling this way. So many people are facing the same challenges. Give yourself permission to acknowledge those feelings, to talk about them openly and honestly. Remember, the holidays aren't about breaking the bank. They're about connection, about togetherness, about sharing moments that matter. It might be helpful to have an open conversation with your loved ones about setting realistic spending limits, or exploring alternative gift-giving traditions that focus on experiences or homemade gifts. The most important thing is to prioritize your financial well-being. Because entering the new year with a sense of financial security, now that's a gift that keeps on giving. Let's talk about family dynamics during the holidays. Unresolved conflicts and high expectations often surface. It's a recipe for tension. Remember that one uncle's old argument? Or your mother-in-law's cooking critique? It's okay to acknowledge triggers. Set healthy boundaries. Excuse yourself if needed. No need to engage in every battle. No family is perfect. Embrace the imperfections. Let's talk about expectations because, honey, they can be the silent killers of holiday cheer. We often build up these elaborate fantasies in our minds about how the holidays should be. But when reality falls short, we're left feeling disappointed and deflated. So let's give ourselves the gift of letting go. Instead of aiming for picture perfect, aim for present. Let go of the need to recreate the holidays of your childhood or to live up to someone else's idea of the perfect celebration. This year, I encourage you to ask yourself, what truly matters most to me this holiday season? Is it spending quality time with loved ones? Is it creating new traditions? Is it simply giving yourself permission to rest and recharge? Once you identify your priorities, you can start setting realistic expectations that align with those values. Remember, it's okay to say no to obligations that drain your energy or don't serve your overall well-being. Now, when it comes to navigating those sometimes tricky family interactions, I want to offer you two powerful tools: active listening and healthy boundaries. Active listening means truly tuning in to what the other person is saying, not just waiting for your turn to speak. It's about putting aside your own judgments and trying to see the situation from their perspective. Even if you don't agree with everything they say, you can still validate their feelings. A simple "I hear you" or "I understand why you feel that way" can go a long way in diffusing tension. Now, healthy boundaries, they're essential for protecting your own mental and emotional well-being. It's okay to say no to requests or conversations that feel draining or disrespectful. You have the right to set limits on your time and energy. Remember, setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's self-care. And when you take care of yourself, you're better equipped to show up for your loved ones in a more authentic and meaningful way. The holidays can be a truly joyous time. But for those of us who've lost loved ones, it can also be a time when the absence of those we hold dear is felt most keenly. That empty chair at the table, the missing voice in the carols, it can amplify the grief. And, it's okay to acknowledge that pain. It's okay to not feel up for every festive tradition. Don't let anyone tell you to just snap out of it or that you should be over it by now. Grief has its own timeline, its own rhythm. What matters is that we find healthy ways to honor our loved ones, while allowing ourselves to experience the full spectrum of emotions that come with grief. Remember, you don't have to pretend to be okay when you're not. Your vulnerability is a testament to the love you shared. And let's be honest, sometimes the best way to honor those we've lost is to simply allow ourselves to feel their absence fully. Healing from loss doesn't mean forgetting. It's about keeping loved ones close, even in their absence. Maybe it's cooking their favorite dish, sharing stories, or lighting a candle in their memory. Create new traditions that honor your loved ones. Dedicate a special ornament to their memory, or share a toast in their honor. It doesn't have to be elaborate, just heartfelt. It's okay to find joy in grief. It honors the life that was lived. Sing louder, laugh harder, and remember the good times. That's what your loved ones would want. Find peace, comfort, and joy, even in their absence. That's the most beautiful tribute of all. Family. It's a word loaded with expectations, isn't it? We're supposed to love each other unconditionally, support each other through thick and thin. But the reality is, family relationships can be complicated. And sometimes those complications lead to estrangement, to a distance that feels impossible to bridge. If you're facing the holidays with a strained or estranged sibling relationship, know that you are not alone. So many families experience these rifts, and the holidays can magnify those feelings of hurt and disappointment. It's important to approach these situations with a great deal of compassion, both for yourself and for your sibling. Remember, there are always two sides to every story, and often there's a lot more going on beneath the surface than we may realize. Start by acknowledging your own feelings about the situation. Are you feeling hurt, angry, abandoned? It's okay to feel those things. Allow yourself to process those emotions without judgment. Now, I'm not saying that reconciliation is always possible or even advisable. Sometimes the healthiest thing we can do is to create distance between ourselves and someone who's causing us pain. But if you feel called to mend those bridges, it's important to do so with realistic expectations. Don't go into it expecting a Hallmark movie ending. Healing takes time, and it requires patience, understanding, and a willingness to truly listen to each other. Start small. A simple holiday card, a text message, a brief phone call. You don't have to dive into the deep end right away. Just focus on re-establishing contact and see where it leads. And remember, forgiveness is a process, not a destination. It's okay if you're not ready to forgive everything right away. Just be open to the possibility of healing and see where it takes you. Let's be honest, the holidays don't exist in a bubble. We bring our whole selves to the table, our joys, our sorrows, and yes, even our anxieties about the state of the world. And let's face it, the world can feel pretty heavy these days. We're bombarded with news of conflicts, crises, and uncertainty. It's enough to make anyone want to crawl under the covers and hibernate until spring. But here's the thing, we can't let the darkness win. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, to feel powerless in the face of so much suffering. But here's the truth, we are not powerless. Each of us has the ability to make a difference, to be a source of light in the darkness. And sometimes, the most revolutionary act we can take is to choose hope, to choose love in the face of fear, to choose connection in a world that feels increasingly divided. Now, I'm not suggesting we bury our heads in the sand and pretend everything is fine. We need to stay informed, we need to bear witness to the suffering in the world. But we also need to protect our own well-being. So, how do we do that? How do we stay engaged without becoming overwhelmed? First, set boundaries with the news. Choose specific times to check in, and limit your exposure to avoid feeling overwhelmed. Second, focus on what you can control. Find ways to take action, even in small ways. Volunteer your time, donate to a cause you believe in, or simply practice random acts of kindness. Remember, even the smallest act of kindness can have a ripple effect. So this holiday season, let's choose hope, let's choose action, and let's choose to be a force for good in the world. You know, for so many of us, the holidays can feel like this pressure cooker of expectations. We want to make everyone happy, to be everything to everyone. But darling, let me tell you, that's a recipe for burnout, for resentment, for feeling completely depleted. Learning to say no isn't selfish, it's an act of self-preservation. It's about honoring your own needs, your own limits. It's about recognizing that you can't pour from an empty cup. When we constantly overextend ourselves, when we say yes out of obligation instead of genuine desire, we end up sacrificing our own well-being. And that doesn't serve anyone, least of all ourselves. This holiday season, I want you to give yourself permission to say no without guilt. To set those healthy boundaries, to protect your peace. Remember, you are not responsible for managing everyone else's emotions. Guilt can be such a heavy burden to carry, especially during the holidays. We may feel guilty about not being able to buy extravagant gifts, or guilty about not being able to attend every single gathering. But you know what? It's okay to let go of that guilt. It's okay to prioritize your mental health, your emotional well-being. It's okay to choose yourself, even if it means disappointing someone else. Remember, true joy comes from a place of authenticity, from a place of being true to ourselves. And sometimes that means making choices that prioritize our own peace of mind. So, this holiday season, I want you to give yourself the gift of forgiveness. Forgive yourself for any past mistakes, for any perceived shortcomings. Release the guilt and embrace the freedom that comes from living in alignment with your truth. You know, we've talked about a lot of the challenges that come with family during the holidays. The expectations, the old hurts, the pressure to make everything perfect. But in the midst of all that, it's so important to remember the good. To find those moments of joy, those connections that truly nourish our souls. Because gratitude, my friends, is a powerful thing. It shifts our focus from what's lacking to what's truly important. It allows us to appreciate the people around us, flaws and all. And it opens our hearts to experience the holidays with a renewed sense of wonder. Think about the simple things. A warm hug from a loved one, the sound of children laughing, the shared memories that bring a smile to your face. These are the gifts that matter most. So this holiday season, I encourage you to embrace gratitude. Let it fill your heart and remind you of the beauty that surrounds you, even amidst the chaos. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Oprah, you're asking me to be grateful when my family drives me crazy? And trust me, I get it. We all have those relatives, those dynamics that can push our buttons. But here's the thing. Gratitude isn't about ignoring the challenges. It's about choosing to focus on the good, even when it's hard. It's about finding those glimmers of hope and letting them illuminate the darkness. Start small. Maybe it's a handwritten note to a family member expressing your appreciation for something they do. Maybe it's taking a moment each day to reflect on a happy memory. Or maybe it's simply choosing to see the good in others even when they're not at their best. Because when we approach our relationships with gratitude, we open ourselves up to a whole new level of connection and joy. And that, my friends, is a gift worth cherishing. As the holiday season winds down and we turn our attention to the new year, it's a natural time for reflection. Take a moment to consider the dynamics within your family. What worked well this year? What could use a little improvement? Were there moments of conflict or tension? What can we learn from those experiences? And most importantly, how can we use this knowledge to create a more harmonious and joyful holiday season next year? Remember, change starts with awareness. By taking the time to reflect on our experiences, both positive and negative, we gain valuable insights that can guide us towards healthier relationships and a more fulfilling life. Now that we've taken time to reflect, let's talk about setting intentions for the future. This isn't about creating rigid resolutions, but rather about setting a clear vision for the kind of family dynamics we want to cultivate. Do you want more open communication, more quality time together, more laughter and joy? Whatever it is, write it down, visualize it. And most importantly, believe that it's possible. Remember, change takes time and effort. There will be bumps in the road, moments of frustration, and maybe even a few setbacks. But by setting clear intentions and committing to the journey, we can create lasting change that will benefit our families for years to come. So, let's step into the new year with open hearts and a renewed sense of hope, ready to embrace the beauty and the challenges of family with grace and love. As we gather with loved ones this holiday season, let's remember that the greatest gift we can give is the gift of presence. The gift of listening with open hearts, of offering compassion and understanding, and of cherishing the moments we share together. Let's let go of the pressure to create the perfect holiday and instead focus on what truly matters: connection, empathy, and mental well-being. And remember, you are not alone on this journey. For more insights and tips to make your holiday season meaningful, subscribe to our channel. From our family to yours, wishing you a season filled with love, laughter, and joy.